Close your eyes for just a moment. The year is 1975, and coffee's brewing in the kitchen while Gordon Lightfoot drifts softly from the radio, and for one perfect moment, everything in the world feels exactly right. Want to go back? Somewhere between the smell of fresh-cut grass on a Saturday morning and the sound of kids laughing down the street, Canada had something truly special in the 1970s. Life moved slower back then, simpler in ways that are hard to explain to anyone who didn't experience it firsthand. The kind of simple where a Saturday meant riding your bike until your legs hurt and your lungs burned, where dinner happened at 6 o'clock sharp, with the whole family gathered around one table, and where the biggest decision you'd make all day involved whether to watch cartoons or head outside to see what adventures were waiting. This wasn't some romanticized fantasy or a story people made up to feel better about getting older. Millions of Canadians actually lived this life, breathed this air, felt this freedom. And if you grew up in those years, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That feeling deep in your chest, that freedom that seemed endless, that sense that the world made sense and tomorrow would probably be even better than today. Picture a typical Canadian neighborhood in the mid-1970s, the kind you'd find in any town from Vancouver to Halifax. Bungalows line quiet streets where maple trees cast long shadows across freshly mowed lawns. Station wagons sit peacefully in driveways, their fake wood paneling gleaming in the afternoon sun. Somewhere nearby, a screen door slams as a kid bolts outside into the summer heat. No phone to check, no screen to stare at, no notifications pulling their attention in 17 directions. Just pure, unfiltered childhood, waiting to happen in whatever form it took that day. Inside those homes, avocado green appliances hummed quietly in kitchens where moms pulled bubbling casseroles from the oven, and dads flipped through the thick Eaton's catalog that sat permanently on the kitchen table, circling things the family might need next month or maybe for Christmas. A rotary phone hung on the wall, its long spiral cord stretched and twisted from years of conversations that lasted hours because there was nowhere else anyone needed to be. Nobody locked their doors when they left for work or ran to the corner store. Why would they? Everyone knew everyone on the block, knew their kids' names, knew which dog belonged to which house. Trust wasn't something you questioned or debated. It was just the foundation everything else was built on. And outside belonged entirely to the kids. Summer mornings started the same way across the entire country, from the smallest prairie towns to the biggest cities. You'd wake up naturally, no alarm clock screaming at you, throw on whatever clothes you could find on your bedroom floor, gulp down a bowl of cereal while Saturday morning cartoons played in the background, and then vanish into the neighborhood until lunch. No one asked where you were going or demanded a detailed itinerary. No one needed to know because the whole neighborhood was your territory, and every adult on the street was looking out for every kid. Bikes were absolute freedom on two wheels, not expensive mountain bikes with 20 gears and hydraulic shocks, just simple two-wheelers that you rode until the chain fell off. Some had banana seats that were cool for exactly one summer. Some had playing cards clipped to the spokes with clothespins so they'd make that satisfying flapping sound that announced your arrival from 3 blocks away. You'd ride for hours, exploring streets you'd seen 100 times, but somehow never got boring, racing your friends down hills with your feet off the pedals, popping wheelies that you'd practice until you got them perfect. No helmets, no knee pads, no rules except the big one, the universal law that every Canadian kid understood without anyone having to explain it twice. Be home before the streetlights came on. That rule was carved in stone across the entire country. Every kid knew it, respected it, lived by it. When those lights flickered to life and that orange glow started spreading across the pavement, You dropped everything and pedaled home as fast as your legs could pump. Didn't matter if you were winning the game or losing it. Didn't matter if you were in the middle of the best adventure of your entire summer. Didn't matter if you were halfway across town exploring a creek you'd just discovered. The streetlights meant dinner, and dinner meant family, and family meant you showed up on time, sweaty and exhausted and completely happy. Inside, the kitchen smelled like home in a way that's impossible to recreate. Roast beef and potatoes with gravy made from the drippings, casseroles loaded with ground beef and canned vegetables, and those crispy fried onions on top. Hamburger helper on nights when Mom didn't feel like cooking from scratch. And sometimes, if you were really lucky, your parents would bring home Swiss chalet, and you'd tear into that rotisserie chicken and dip your fries in that sauce like it was the best meal on planet Earth. Because back then, without 1,000 restaurant options and food delivery apps, it genuinely was. Dinner happened around the table with everyone present and accounted for. All of you squeezed into the same space, no TV blaring in the background, no phones buzzing with messages that couldn't wait 10 minutes, just forks scraping plates and ice clinking in glasses and someone asking how your day went. And you'd actually answer with real details because there was nothing else competing for your attention or pulling your eyes away from the people right in front of you. Your parents wanted to know what you did, who you played with, if you scraped your knee jumping off the swing set, if you found that frog you'd been looking for all week. The smallest details mattered because life moved slowly enough to actually notice them and care about them. After dinner, especially on Saturday nights, the real magic began across the entire country. Saturday nights in Canada meant one thing and one thing only: hockey night in Canada. Families gathered around the television, often the only one in the house, planted firmly in the living room or down in the wood-paneled basement that smelled like old carpet and possibility. You'd sit on shag carpet or squeeze onto an old couch, and when that theme song kicked in, you knew without question that you were part of something bigger than yourself. The whole country tuned in at the same time. Millions of Canadians watching the same game, the same players, the same incredible saves and devastating goals. You'd talk about it at school on Monday morning, replaying the highlights with your friends. And everyone saw it. Everyone remembered the same moments, shared the same excitement. The television offered other treasures too, shows that felt distinctly and proudly Canadian. The Beachcombers on Sunday nights, following Nick Adonidas and his adventures up and down the British Columbia coast. King of Kensington, where Larry King made you laugh about life in Toronto's working-class neighborhoods with humor that felt real and familiar. These shows reflected the country back to you, not some glossy American version of life with perfect families and unrealistic problems, but your actual life, your streets, your sense of humor, your values. And the radio was always playing somewhere in the house, a constant soundtrack to daily life. Anne Murray's smooth voice floated through kitchens while moms washed dishes and wiped down counters. Bachman-Turner Overdrive cranked from Dad's transistor radio in the garage while he tinkered with whatever project had captured his attention that weekend. Gordon Lightfoot soundtracked lazy Sunday afternoons when the whole family piled into the station wagon for a drive with no particular destination in mind. Music wasn't something you chose from a million options or carefully curated into personalized playlists. You listened to what played on the radio, and you loved it because everyone else loved it too, because your neighbors were listening to the same songs, because music created shared culture and shared memories. Speaking of those station wagons with their fake wood paneling and seats that could fit half the neighborhood, summer meant road trips that felt like expeditions. Long drives up to cottage country, Muskoka with its rocky shores and clear water, the Kawarthas with their connected lakes perfect for exploring, or all the way out to Prince Edward Island if your family had the time and your dad had the patience. No GPS guiding you turn by turn in a robot voice. Just a paper map spread across your lap, your finger tracing highways and secondary roads while your dad drove, and your mom pointed out landmarks and small towns worth stopping in. The back seat was a battlefield of siblings arguing over space and who was touching whose side. But once you hit the open road and the city disappeared behind you, everything settled into peaceful anticipation. Windows down, warm summer air rushing in, carrying the smell of farms and forests, the steady hum of tires on pavement, freedom in motion. Those cottage trips were about as close to paradise as most families got. The cottages weren't fancy lakeside mansions, just small cabins by the water with screen doors that never quite closed right, and beds that sagged in the middle, a wooden dock where you'd spend entire days diving in, climbing out, diving in again until your skin pruned and your shoulders burned pink under the relentless summer sun. Campfires at night when the mosquitoes came out and the temperature finally dropped. Marshmallows on sticks held over flames until they caught fire and you had to blow them out quick. The haunting sound of loons echoing across the lake in the darkness. Those trips weren't about luxury or impressive amenities. They were about disconnecting completely from regular life and reconnecting with each other. No distractions, no schedules, just nature, family, and time that stretched out like it would never end. Back home after summer ended, life settled into its comfortable rhythm. Weekday mornings smelled like toast and coffee and possibility. The radio played the morning news while your mom poured milk from a bag into a pitcher. That odd little ritual that only made sense if you grew up Canadian and never questioned why your milk came in bags while the rest of the world used cartons. Your dad would grab his lunch packed in a metal tin, kiss everyone goodbye, and head off to work in the car that never seemed to break down. And you'd walk to school alone if you lived close, or with friends if you were lucky enough to have neighbors your age. No one drove you unless the weather turned absolutely brutal with snow up to your knees. Walking was just what kids did, how you got places, and nobody thought twice about it. School felt different back then, too, structured and predictable in ways that somehow felt comforting. Teachers had real authority, and no one questioned it or called their parents to complain about consequences. You did your homework because that's what you were supposed to do. You respected adults because that's how you were raised. Misbehaving meant real consequences, and those consequences extended beyond the classroom walls. If you got in trouble at school, you got in trouble at home. Double jeopardy with no appeals process. But honestly, most kids stayed in line because life was good enough that acting out didn't make much sense. You had freedom where it counted, freedom that mattered, freedom that was real. Why risk losing it over something stupid? Afternoons after school followed a comfortable, predictable pattern that felt right. Drop your bag by the door. Grab whatever snack your mom had left out. Head outside where the real day began. Play until dinner, until your mom's voice carried down the street calling you home, until the shadows grew long and that first street light flickered on. Street hockey in the cul-de-sac with nets made from old pipes. Baseball in the empty field with a taped-up ball and a wooden bat someone's dad made in shop class. Kick the can when the group was big enough. Capture the flag when the sun started setting and shadows made the game more intense and hiding places more effective. This was childhood in 1970s Canada. Simple, free, and somehow perfect in ways we didn't fully understand until decades later when we tried to explain it to our own kids who would never quite grasp what we meant. Because how do you explain the feeling of riding your bike with no destination? How do you capture the taste of milk poured from a bag or the sound of a rotary phone ringing through the house? How do you recreate that trust, that freedom, that sense that everything would be okay? You can't. You can only remember it. Close your eyes and go back to 1975. The coffee's brewing. Gordon Lightfoot plays softly. And for one perfect moment, life was exactly what it should be. If this brought back memories you'd forgotten, watch the next video.